right? This was such a one of these was such a W video. Let's see if I can find it. Give me a second. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a second. Let me close out Elden Ring since I'm not doing anything. That way I can have more space on my computer. But we ain't got all this stuff going on once. Mm-hmm. Shadow work. Here it is. Okay, this is a beautiful video, right? And let me get the zoom out. All right, and then full screen it. All right, bet. This will help you get an understanding of shadow work.
Truly terrifying.
Here we go.
I haven't read anyone I regard as deeper than Jung. He's terrifying, truly terrifying. But here's one of the things that differentiates him from the typical self-help person. I really love this, is that he believes that the pathway to completion as a human being is through the embodiment of the monster.
Embodiment of the monster.
That's the discovery of the shadow. You see, so Jung didn't believe that you could be a good person until you realized your capacity for evil. I don't mean acted it out in the world.
But understand that it's possible.
Well, not only understand it, but then to bring it under your control. You see, because there's a big difference between someone who's naive and is a good person. They're naive, they're a good person because they can't not be.
I don't even have to say anything. I shouldn't even have to say anything, right?
They're like a domesticated house cat. There's nothing, they don't even have the capacity to be bad. So there's no morality in that. The morality comes when you're a monster and you can control it. And that's the Jungian encounter with the shadow. So Jung said, for example, that the roots of the shadow go all the way down to hell. And what he meant by that is that, well, you can think about it literally, you can think about it metaphorically. We'll just think about it metaphorically. It's like, if you start to understand who you are, then you understand the Nazis. And who wants to understand the Nazis? You know, I can understand sex criminals. I can understand them. Right. I can understand Nazis. And the reason for that is because I can see that as an aspect of myself.
Boom. Right there. Right there. He said he can understand them because he knows that that's also a part of himself. Because human behavior has the good side, exactly, a relation to self. Human behavior also has the morally good side, and it also has the bad, the morally bad. It's not, you can't, society wants you to be a certain way, but the rapists, the Nazis, all of that stuff, I don't know if I can say that on Twitch. Twitch, this is for educational purposes, right? All that stuff, you know, is a innate part of human nature, right? But you're conditioned by society to be a certain way, right?
Truly. But one of the things that's so interesting, and it's terrifying to realize that, which is why it's terrifying to realize the shadow, which is why people don't do it.
Exactly.
It's no wonder they don't do it. You know, it's a horrible thing to realize that you're human and what being human means. Like angel, like Christ to Satan, that's the human being. And you might say, well, those aren't real. It's like, okay, well, they're figments of the imagination that the human race constructed to describe themselves. Fine. Does that make it less frightening? I don't think so. So, and it doesn't make it any less frightening if you take those two extremes seriously. And you might say, well, who's going to take the Christ extreme seriously? It's no problem, man. Dispense with it. You try getting rid of the other side.
I'm telling you, his relation to how shadow work works and what he wants you, like, why shadow work is so scary is because the discovery of the fact that you can do so much evil, but controlling that and choosing to be a good person, right? Choosing to be a good person makes you an even better person than a person who just doesn't know how to be evil, right? That shit is crazy.
See how you do with that.
So, Jung's idea that you find so compelling was essentially that one has to understand their potential for horrific behavior, that it almost exists in all of us, that it's a facet of just the human experience.
Well, look, I know partly why you're so popular. It's because you're a monster. I mean, look, I watched what you did to the Kardashians on your and Jenner on your comedy show, man. You did this whole gargoyle thing. Yeah, you remember, you laugh. Yeah, see, you can even laugh about that. I mean, it was horrifying to behold. You were crouched up on the back of this chair like a...
It's horrifying to do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I couldn't believe you did it.
Well, the problem with doing it is, this is going to sound fucked up, but while I'm doing it, I'm not thinking I'm doing a comedy sketch. This is what's fucked up about it. While I'm crouched there, I'm thinking like a demon.
Because it is an innate part of you, right? You can tap into that side of yourself, that deep, dark, nasty monster on the inside. And that's part of understanding yourself, not shoving yourself away. You see what I'm saying? You're not shoving yourself away from that side. You have to understand that side because you are human, right? Right? You're able to tap into that realm and control it. And a lot of people are afraid of that because they don't know the results or the consequences that come with that, right? It's crazy. And this is part of that deep shadow work that people are talking about. 24/7, you need to be doing this type of stuff. The shadow realm, yes. All that stuff. In order to be a better human, the shadow realm, yeah, I've heard of the shadow realm, but I haven't really, as far as me doing shadow work, if that's what the shadow realm is, then yes, I've experienced the shadow realm. I've been in the deepest, darkest parts of my mind. And I don't think I have the same perspective of shadow realm as you do. I'm gonna have to look at that. The shadow realm. Remind me. But yeah, bro. You have to understand the deepest, darkest parts of yourself in order to see the light, right? It's literally this, bro. I got it on my fucking desk, right? Yin and yang, right? Yin and yang. This was supposed to be a patch I was gonna put on my jacket, but the duality of the universe, the duality of yourself, right? Where there is dark, there is light. Where there is light, there is dark. You see what I'm saying? This is a universal law, yin and yang, right? In Buddhism, they study this. There is no one without the other. There is no good without evil, right? You wouldn't be able to know good if there was no evil. You wouldn't be able to know evil if there was no good. See what I'm saying? Exactly. Yeah, you can compare it to the moderate speech, right? He was basically like, wake up to reality. Life is basically nothing but futility, existence, and suffering or something. Futility, depression, and suffering.
Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world. The longer you live, the more you will realize that the only things that truly exist in this reality are merely pain, suffering, and futility. Listen. Everywhere you look in this world, wherever there is light, there will always be shadows to be found as well. As long as there is a concept of victors, the vanquished will also exist. The selfish intent of wanting to preserve peace initiates wars, and hatred is born in order to protect love. There are nexuses, causal relationships that cannot be separated.
This is my favorite fucking character, right? See what I'm saying? Exactly. How does an anime wind up giving philosophical life lessons, man? This shit says, just by living, people hurt others without even realizing it. So long as humanity exists, hate will also exist. This, bro, bro, this shit is clean as fuck. Hold on. Pain and loss, right? Pain and loss. And then it's got Conan and all of them over here, right? That shit is so hard. That shit is so hard, bro. That shit is crazy. I fucking love Naruto for that shit. I loved it. That shit is crazy, bro. And that just pertains to this. Yin and yang, bro. Yin and yang. You feel me? The universal law, duality of the universe, right? Where there was light, there was light, there was dark. Where there was dark, there was light. Pain is such a little edgy girl. Okay, you know. He's such an edge lord. Facts. But this is facts. This is facts. You wouldn't be able to understand good if there was no evil. And that's gonna bring me to another Jordan Peterson video in a second. But let's finish watching this.
Uh-huh.
Like, while that's the reason why I do it that way. Like, and the reason why I do it in the, like, I'm very flexible, right? So it's one of the reasons why I do it in almost, because I want it to be in an almost, in a way that you don't imagine human beings moving. You know, that it's like it confuses the mind because it's not standard human movement. And then on top of that, the way I'm thinking, and this like explosive, like when he yells out nonsense. And I say he, because I don't think of it as me. I really think it sounds so pretentious. But while I'm doing that, my brain goes into another place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's really.
Well, you can't do that unless you're a monster.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
See, but it's also
bit.
the thing. See, because
I'm very happy when I retired it, by the way.
oh yeah, I was really quite taken. I was very impressed by it. I mean, I thought it was hilarious to begin with, but the fact that you would go there, I thought that was really interesting. And comedians are like that because they go into dark places. They're tricksters. They're a mediator between the normal world and the world of the gods. They're tricksters. So it was very funny to watch you do that. And I wondered how far you would let yourself get into it. But I think part of the reason that you're appealing to people, if you don't mind.
I see you, Ficklin. I see it.
Saying
you're
this,
right,
you know, I'm not trying to be.
He also turned his pain into passion, you know, and he came up with some of the realest shit in life that I've ever heard. So eventually he got talked to Jutsu. So, yeah.
Forward particularly, but I thought about it a lot, is that you're a tough guy and you tell the truth, but it's both of those together that's what's doing it, because you know people don't look at you and think like holier than thou preacher. That isn't what they think. They think tough guy who's trying to figure things out, like right on, that's good, you're a good figure for the times, because this whole war against the phallogocentrism, you know, calls forward people who are like you, if we're lucky. And those are guys who have this warrior end, because, you know, you're a fighter. So, and if you're going to be a fighter, you have to want to win. And you have to want to hurt people. I mean, not for the sake of hurting them. That's what makes you different than an evil person. But you have to have that capacity. You have to develop that. And, you know, that's the step on the way to enlightenment, weirdly enough, because that isn't what people think. I don't have...
That shit's crazy. Here we go. This is the one right here.
Think, well, maybe God didn't allow evil into the world. Maybe God allowed the possibility of evil into the world. That's different. And maybe the world with the possibility of evil is actually a better world than the world without the possibility of evil. It's something like that. You know, in that maybe a man is better when he's a dangerous man who's being good than he would be if he was just a good man who wasn't capable of being dangerous. And I believe that, because the best men that I've ever met are very dangerous men. You don't mess with them. Think, well, maybe God...
All facts. All facts. That shit is crazy, man. That shit is crazy. You see what I'm saying? Like that shit is crazy, bro. Like the possibility of evil. You know, God didn't just, maybe God didn't just create evil just to create evil. You know, God maybe created the possibility of evil so people could understand the possibility of good. You know a lot about Islam, right? I know a decent amount. I'm pretty sure Zane would too, Invader Zane. So I read books about it. I'm not no way, shape, or form a Muslim by any means, but yeah, that shit is crazy. Hey, Fickley, what time we rolling out, bro?